Imagine two gardens. One bursts with vibrantly colored flowers, while the other struggles with wilting blooms. The difference? Sunlight and shade. Sunlight and shade are the invisible architects of your garden. They shape the health, growth, and vibrancy of your flowers in ways that are both dramatic and subtle. Picture a sunflower, standing tall and radiant in the full sun, its golden petals reaching out to soak up every ray of light. Now, envision a fern, nestled comfortably in the dappled shade, its delicate fronds thriving in the cool, filtered light. But what happens when these plants swap places? The sunflower wilts under the cool shade, its bright colors fading away. The fern, on the other hand, burns under the harsh sunlight, losing its lush green hue. These contrasting scenarios highlight the profound impact of sunlight and shade on the life of your flowers. But the question remains, how do we harness the power of sunlight and shade to create a thriving garden? Let's delve deeper. Different flowers have different needs. Some bask in the full glare of the sun, while others prefer the cool comfort of the shade. Let's start with unpacking these terms. Full sun, partial shade, and full shade. Full sun refers to locations that receive at least 6 hours of direct sunlight each day. Roses, marigolds, and sunflowers are examples of flowers that thrive in this light-intense environment. On the other hand, partial sun and partial shade are two sides of the same coin. They both refer to spots that enjoy 3 to 6 hours of sun each day, but here's the key difference. Partial sun plants need their sunlight during the warmer afternoon hours, while partial shade plants prefer the gentler morning sun. Think of partial sun lovers like snapdragons and petunias, and for partial shade, consider flowers like impatiens or foxgloves. Lastly, we have full shade. This doesn't mean no sun at all, but rather less than 3 hours of direct sunlight each day. Full shade plants, such as hostas and astilbes, are perfect for those tucked-away corners of your garden. Now, why does this matter? Well, these sunlight and shade conditions directly impact your flowers' growth, flowering times, and overall health. Too much sun can scorch plants that prefer the shade, leading to yellow leaves and stunted growth. Conversely, shade-loving flowers might stretch and become leggy as they reach for the sun, resulting in fewer and smaller blooms. Moreover, the amount of sunlight a flower gets can also affect its bloom time. For instance, a peony in full sun might bloom a week earlier than one in partial shade. So, understanding your flower's light requirements and planting them accordingly can help you stagger bloom times for a longer display of color in your garden. Remember, the right light conditions can make the difference between a blooming beauty and a wilting wallflower. So, take the time to understand the sunlight and shade requirements of your flowers. It's more than worth the extra effort. Now let's turn our attention to your garden or home. How do you determine the light conditions in different areas? In this world of technology, we're lucky to have tools that can help us assess the light quality, duration, and intensity in different areas of our garden or home. First, let's talk about light quality. This refers to the kind of light your garden or home gets. Is it direct sunlight, dappled light, or perhaps filtered light? To assess this, you can simply observe the area at different times of the day, see how the sunlight falls on the ground, if it passes through leaves, or if it's blocked by buildings or other structures. Next up is light duration. This refers to how long an area gets light. It's important because different plants have different sunlight needs. Some plants thrive in full sun, meaning they need 6 or more hours of direct sunlight each day. Others prefer partial sun or partial shade, which means they need 3 to 6 hours of sunlight, and some do well in full shade, getting less than 3 hours of direct sunlight. To figure this out, you can keep a sunlight diary, noting down the times when an area is in sunlight and when it's in shade. Lastly, let's discuss light intensity. This involves how strong the sunlight is. A sunny spot by a south-facing window, for instance, has high light intensity. On the other hand, a spot under a leafy tree or a north-facing room has low light intensity. You can measure light intensity using tools like light meters or even smartphone apps. These tools give you a reading in foot candles or lux, which you can then refer to when choosing plants for that specific light condition. So, there you have it. By observing the light quality, recording the light duration, and measuring the light intensity, you can assess the light conditions in different areas of your garden or home. With this knowledge, you can create a garden that not only looks beautiful, but also thrives. But what happens when the seasons change and sunlight patterns shift? Fear not, adjustments can be made. Just like the changing seasons, your garden too is dynamic. As the earth revolves around the sun, the angle of sunlight hitting your garden changes, and so does the pattern of shadows. This means that the perfect spot for your flowers in the summer may not be so perfect in the winter. To ensure your flowers continue to thrive, it's crucial to monitor these changes and adjust plant locations accordingly. This is not a one-time task, but a continuous process that requires keen observation and a good understanding of your plant's needs. Consider this scenario. You have a flower that thrives in full sun during spring and summer. As autumn arrives, the days shorten, and the sun's path across the sky lowers. The once sunny spot may now be in partial shade. This change in light conditions could affect the health and bloom of your flower. So what should you do? The answer is simple. Move your plant. Find a new location in your garden that now receives full sun and relocate your flower there. Remember, the goal is to mimic the light conditions your plant needs to thrive. Monitoring and adjusting plant locations may seem like a daunting task, but incorporating it into your gardening routine can make it a breeze. Make it a habit to assess your garden's light conditions regularly. A quick stroll around your garden every few weeks can provide valuable insights into how sunlight and shade patterns are shifting. And don't be afraid to make adjustments. If a plant isn't doing well in its current location, try moving it to a different spot. But remember, always do this gradually to avoid shocking the plant. Lastly, bear in mind that not all plants need to be moved. Some flowers are adaptable and can handle changes in light conditions. Knowing the specific needs of your plants will help determine whether a move is necessary. Remember, gardening is a dynamic process. Be prepared to move and adjust as needed. So, you now understand the power of sunlight and shade. What's next? Well, it's time to put this knowledge to work. Imagine the potential transformation that awaits your garden or indoor spaces. Picture your flowers blooming vibrantly, their colors more vivid, their petals fuller, all thanks to you finding that sweet spot between sunlight and shade. Think about the satisfaction of seeing your plants thrive, not just survive, but truly flourish. It's not just about their health, it's about their beauty and the joy they bring to your everyday life. You've got the tools, you've got the knowledge, and now it's about taking action. Start observing, start assessing, start moving if you must. Each plant, each flower has its own perfect spot. It's up to you to find it. Get out there, assess your lighting conditions, and create your dream garden. Remember, the perfect spot for your flowers is just a sunbeam or shadow away.